call to order the Town of Lake Lure Marine Commission regular meeting Tuesday, September the 12th at 4 p.m. Are there any additions, edits to the agenda? Then do I hear a
Yes, we do. We have one
Okay.
appeal we have to add. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I
Yeah.
think you appealed it.
Yeah.
I don't have the number in front of me, but I think it's 160. I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of item 7D, request to appeal civil citation.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any other additions, changes? Then do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with updates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then the agenda stands approved as amended. We need a motion to go into public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to go into public hearing in regard to resolution number 23-09-12, amending the Lake Lure use regulations.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Then we will go into the public hearing on resolution number 23-09-12, amending the lake use regulations. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment?
Were we gonna have staff report first?
We can do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I beg your pardon. Yes, well, Dean, or Daniel, will give us a report.
All right, so there were a good many updates to the regulations that are recommended, but the major ones are changing the names of the boat permit from annual permits to seasonal permits, and so you'll see that throughout the packet, and because our season can change from year to year, so we just thought that was logical. And then, so we've updated all of those. There were some definition and verbiage updates, but then another major one is we have added a seasonal fishing permit. So a seasonal motorized fishing permit, this would be valid 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. during peak season, and then all hours outside of peak season. And so that would be great. We know a lot of the fishermen were really, really wanting this. So hopefully that would make a big difference. And the other major one is we have removed, the suggestion is to remove non-motorized permits except for commercial entities. So people that have livery kayaks would still have get the permits for their kayaks, but everyone else would not have to have one.
So we're just making everybody happy today.
Right? Yeah. And so that would be wonderful. But those are the major changes that we have.
Okay, fine. Maybe you want to just stay right there and we'll ask if there's any
Yeah, absolutely.
questions. Does anyone have any questions, comments that they would like to make at this time?
Yeah, so you mean what the season itself actually is, or during the season? Yes, so it'd be 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. That's generally the times that fishermen usually fish anyway, and because they try to avoid the busiest times on the lake. Outside of season, they could do it anytime they wanted to, unrestricted.
Any other questions? Yes.
Non-motorized?
Yes, for non-motorized, it would only be those entities that are in the commercial model that have livery rental kayaks. And so they would still need a permit, but nobody else would need them. The public could come and just put in their kayaks and vacation rentals would no longer need them because it's not considered a livery boat.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dana, so much.
Yeah, so that is our recommendation.
All right. Any comments, questions?
Commission
Deliberation.
Yeah, so I would just add one thing, because there's a little confusion that we got on the lake use regulations. So if you have a fishing boat, if you're a resident of Lake Lure and you have a fishing boat, you have two options. You can keep the annual seasonal permit, which unlimited use, or at a lesser rate, because it'll be less expensive, you can choose to make your fishing boat a fishing permit, which is gonna be around half the cost, but it's gonna give you just a limited amount of access during the fishing season. So just because you have a fishing boat doesn't mean that you have to get a fishing permit. So, yeah.
So related to that, non-residents of the area.
Yes. See, that's the big win. Non-residents of the area can get a fishing permit for their fishing boat, okay, without any stipulation or limitation. And so they'll be able to come in, fish. The only restriction that they have during the peak season is they can't go out there and mix it up with the most congestion that we have on the lake. And so they're gonna have, and they'll be pleased. They would be able to do that. And by the way, yes, that's true too, but those fishing boats also, worth mentioning, do not count against our 1,000 permit limit that we're trying to regulate to prevent overcrowding on the lake. So if you take your boat and make it a fishing boat and only use it during the non-congested off-season, you're actually opening it up for other people to not meet that maximum limit. So everybody benefits.
And so related to that, what would the cost be for a motorized seasonal permit for non-resident?
For the fishing. We're determining that now. We anticipate, hasn't been approved, will get approved in the near future. Anticipate it'll be about because it's about half the season access. So it'll be about half the cost.
Any other
No,
comments?
well, that makes great sense. I'm glad we did that.
Okay.
And it's gonna alleviate Parks and Recreation for the non-motorized permits next year too. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
Yeah.
I've registered two myself, and friends have registered others, and there's a lot of time that goes into that. And I think in the long run, it's gonna benefit Parks and Rec to open up their bandwidth for other, more useful benefits of their time.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
Okay. All right.
Do we need a motion
We need to.
We do.
We do,
to leave
yes.
before we vote?
Yeah, we need to close public hearing.
I make a motion that we close public hearing in regard to resolution number 23-09-12.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right.
And.
All comments presented, I will, if you'd like, yeah.
Go for
Okay,
it.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 23-09-12, amending the lake use regulations as presented. this evening.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution
Nice work.
number
Yep.
23-09-12, amending the lake use regulations, passes unanimously.
Thank you to the Lake Advisory Board and
Yeah,
Parks
for
and Rec
sure.
for all your hard work.
For sure.
Really appreciate it.
And on behalf of all the fishermen in the world,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, they're very.
We
good
have,
about
we
it.
have a number of Lake Advisory Board here, so.
Yes, thank you all so
Thank
much.
you
Yep.
very much. We'll now move on to the next item on our agenda, item number 4, which is public comment. We have no one signed up to make a public comment. If there is someone at this time who wants to and did not sign up, you certainly may. Just come up to the podium and give us your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to impart any wisdom you have for us. All right then, there being no one interested in making a public comment, we will move on to our consent agenda. Item number 5, which is approval of the June 13th, 2023 regular Marine Commission meeting minutes.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then the consent agenda is approved as presented. There being no unfinished business, then we will move on to appeal hearings. The first request is request to appeal civil citation number 000053. And
Who's gonna present these?
Yes, and so in the case of Wagner, they were out in the area behind the old ABC store, and they were kayaking, and police officer had stopped them and issued a citation for no boat permit. They didn't have boat permits. And so they were wanting to be reconsidered based on
Mr.
signage.
Wagner isn't here, is he? Oh, I don't see him, okay.
based on what?
They had mentioned seeing the signs, and they didn't think the signs applied to
Right.
them, even though it says for motorized and non-motorized vessels.
Any comments?
We've had these before.
I have a question that's not just related to this, but to the rest of them. When a person is issued a citation, does the citation not say what the amount of the,
It does not.
I-
Most of the time, it does not, because it depends on if it's their first, second, or third offense, what that fine is. And we won't know that until it goes through the front office and we figure out.
okay.
So that make, yeah, because I was gonna,
So when a person gets a citation, they can't really pay it because they don't know what it amounts to?
We ask for a few days of turnaround,
Okay,
and then CAT mails them out a letter, and it says on that exactly how much their fine is.
okay.
But they can contact us ahead of time if they,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Everyone satisfied with this?
I've got a little bit of a personal conflict, I guess, in my thinking that we, just a few minutes ago, passed a resolution that did away with permits for non-motorized boat permits, and here we're, I mean, it's
But
just
that-
hard for me to
Yeah.
reconcile that in my mind.
I tend to agree. Just for the record, though, the implementation of that will be the 1st of January.
Yes.
I know that, it's just.
no,
Yeah, so actually, it's in effect for the rest of the
I
year.
understand that.
A point of consideration would be, if we start doing that, we have to be consistent.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And,
we'd have to go retro to the people that
yeah, so
we denied
in
the
the
last
past,
couple of meetings. So
yeah, so,
I think we have to stay consistent
Okay.
through the rest of the year.
I'm
I mean,
just-
I agree, it's,
Yeah,
I
it
just
was,
thought I'd make
it
it
was-
public that I.
yeah.
as we're doing that, I'm
You know,
thinking
I,
the same thing.
actually, I felt that way too, and that was one of the things why, because the consideration was, do we implement this thing right away? What's the impact? Should we do it? Clean break, okay, with the 1st of January. And the general consensus from the LAB when we discussed this was, keep it in play, all aspects of it in play, which includes the civil, the fining and everything else.
Okay.
But always open to interpretation, but that's kind of where we are with it, I think, Jen.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? All right, then we will move to,
So I'll make a motion to deny the request to appeal civil citation 00053.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Then the request is unanimously denied. The second request is to appeal civil citation number 00058. Dana?
And this one was very similar. They were using paddle boards, and they stated they had never been to Lake Lure before, didn't really see the signs, but they were stopped and they did not have any boat permits on the paddle boards. So they were issued a citation.
This is pretty similar to the last
So
one.
Dana, I think this begs that question that Commissioner Proctor just brought up about finding out about fines. You know, there's a lot of stuff in here that says I couldn't get anybody to call me, I can't speak. to
Right.
that.
They can always call the office, and we can tell you what the first, second, and third offenses are.
Right.
But we can't tell you exactly how much your citation is until we've ran it through the system and see if they've had previous citations
Got
before.
it. I'm just saying there were a lot of things here that she pointed to where there were no callbacks, no answers, again, I can't speak to that because I wasn't on the phone and
Right.
I don't know. I can only go by what she's saying here, but
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that if we have that in place, that we are
Right.
able to get those people that information.
This particular reason was that people were turning around and trying to do something either that day or the next day to pay it. We haven't even had time to process it, so nobody knew,
I got you.
nobody
I know you talked about first, second, third offenses, obviously relating to cost. Is it, on our lake use regulations, we have all of our penalties on the back,
We do.
on the last page.
Mhm.
Is there a way we can put what those penalty fines are in another column for first offense, or
We
or is
can-
that just
I
not?
think it already is, isn't it?
No, it doesn't say anything. It just says what they,
Anytime you change it, you have to have a public hearing and change
Okay.
the number.
okay,
That's the reason why we didn't put the number
the
dollar
amount, I got you.
on there, because.
So if we ever change the amount, we'd have to have a public hearing just to change the amount.
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
And we can't
I-
put a note on the citations because it's the same problem. You
Because I know we have,
if
a-
we
I
had
know
them
we have a
printed there,
schedule. I know we have a fee schedule.
we do, and it's on
For-
there. And so
On where?
it's written on the fee schedule. So an officer could have the fee schedule with them, but still they're not
Good
gonna
idea.
know.
I got it.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, after I read this, I started looking for the fines. And I know it's there, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's on the fee schedule.
And so I kept going through everybody's whatever. I was having a hard time finding it myself, so.
Yeah, and that's what we can, tell them what the base price is, but we can't tell them what their fee
I got
amount
it.
is until we print
Okay,
it.
I just
The
want to make
the
sure.
other thing that we can do is, and Carl, you can get back to all your comrades is, it may be worth just a note to say, by the way, at this time, first offense, second offense, third offense, so at least you maybe give them a verbal indication of what the fines are? Is that something you would do, or?
Personally, if they ask,
Yeah,
I'll tell them,
okay,
this is what it is unless you have previous knowledge, in which case it's in the
Okay,
okay, okay.
okay. That's good enough. I just,
Kind of been instructed not to go there voluntarily, because we don't
Yeah.
want to say it's gonna be excellent.
right,
And then they find out it's twice that, because they have to.
Oh, okay,
Gotcha.
okay.
okay.
We don't want to set the staff at, Parks and Recreation up to get a heated exchange, because we told them one thing and then.
Gotcha, got
Gotcha.
it,
Okay.
understood.
Okay. Do I hear a motion now?
Madam Mayor, I move that we deny the request from Ms. Ann Kiefer for the civil citation number 0000058, denying to disapprove the appeal.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, then the request to appeal civil citation number 0000058 is unanimously denied. The next item is item C, request to appeal civil citation number 0000153. Dana?
Yeah, on the day in question, officer was called out to the area, and the assistant fire chief had witnessed this man jump from the bridge. And then when the officer got there, he issued him the citation. And so they were questioned of how many of them jumped, but he was the one that was witnessed jumping.
So, I mean, the whole entire time that I have this packet, the first question I wanted to ask was, were there any witnesses to this? Because, just because he's wet doesn't mean he jumped off the bridge.
Right, yeah.
So
the-
everything that he wrote here in this letter is not true.
The sad part is, I think the other 10, and the officer was at the LAB, the other 10 had done it also, but
They just didn't get caught.
Right, right.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm really glad that nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Because that is not what I would consider the
Right.
place I would go jump off that bridge.
It is very dangerous,
I mean,
yes,
I have no idea what's under there. I mean, I go through there in a boat a lot,
yes.
Yeah.
and I've never hit anything, but,
Right.
Yeah, it's
I mean-
very shallow towards the sides.
and we all
so, and then
know,
there's
we all know
rocks.
these kids jump off these bridges, you see it all the time, and one of them's, now he's paralyzed for the rest of his life, so.
Right.
Yes?
The,
That was the
Tryon,
Tryon.
the Tryon Bay
Tryon
Bridge.
Bay, next to the Lake House Restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a
Is
good
that-
place to be jumping off a bridge, right?
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, we deny the request to civil appeal citation number 0000153,
I'll second.
and, yeah.
Commissioner's motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Then,
Aye.
to appeal for civil citation number 00153 is unanimously denied. Item number D, which we added when we amended the agenda, is, let's see what the number on it is.
000060.
6-0. And we have a written appeal here. Did you want to add anything to that?
I think that summarizes everything I have.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure if you did, you would. So,
Madam Mayor, point of order, I need to recuse myself from this deliberation.
okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Dana, did you want to speak to this?
I
You
can
haven't
give
seen it?
some
Okay.
details. And so apparently, one of our officers had seen a boat that had obviously a fictitious permit, this was a homemade permit, go onto the waters and then pulled him over and asked what the reasoning was. Obviously, this is a fake permit, and so a citation was issued for manipulation of the permitting process, and then he didn't have his boater's license on him at the time, and he did not, of course, have a valid permit with him at the time.
So this reminds me of something that happened to me quite a few years ago. I used to own an old beat-up Ford truck, and I spent all winter rebuilding the engine. And I bought a tag, but when I finally put it all together and drove down the road, I hadn't put the new tag on. And a highway patrolman stopped me, and he looked on his computer and saw that I had paid it, and I didn't get a ticket. So I mean, here's a person that I believe, if I'm reading this correctly, had both the boat permit and a license to drive a boat, but forgot to have them on his person. Is that correct?
So he did purchase his boat permits back in June, which we thought was adequate time to get them on the vessel, but we just didn't want to encourage someone making a fake permit and putting it on their vessel.
Well,
It would have been easy enough just to go back home and get the boat permits. That's the solution to that situation, not making a false one.
I mean, how did you have,
it's like a lost tag thing. I mean, if you lose your tag,
Right, but if you put a fake tag on your vehicle, that's a lot of trouble.
no, but if you have a lost tag, you put a fake tag on until you can get something else. I mean, isn't that correct? That if you lose your tag, you could put your number on your vehicle?
Don't put anything on your.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, that's what they used to do, so.
Yeah, no, that's not legal.
so the permit was issued, your permit was issued in June. And I saw in here where you talked about your boat was in the shop, but, so you had your permit the whole entire time, but you never were able to go get it on put it on your boat.
Take it down, to put it on the shop.
Right. So,
It's simply a matter of I walked out of the house without it. And the fictitious tag was just to get from the marina to the house to get the tag.
Sergeant, did you have anything?
You had related this to traffic law, which are two different things.
I understand.
The difference between driving with a tag, with no tag on your car, is an infraction. Driving with a fictitious tag is a misdemeanor, it's arrestable.
Okay.
And the reason that is because there's an intent to deceive. And so for me, what made the difference on this, if I'd seen him put the boat in without a permit on it, with nothing, more than likely, I probably would have just said, go get your permit. But the intent to deceive is what made the difference for me.
But,
So that's what makes the difference,
Okay.
in my opinion.
but did the fictitious tag have the correct tag number and all
No.
that?
No, there was nothing, just AM
no.
23. So how did we have time to make a orange tag and make all that without just going and getting the?
When I went to the office to get the boat, I was gonna put the tags on, and then I realized that the tags were here and not at the office. So I have the foreign paper. I just put an AM 23 on there,
fake permit was to deceive so that you wouldn't get stopped. He just happened to see it. If someone passed you 300 yards away and looked over and said, oh, that's an orange tag, he looks good. But he was close enough to see.
I wasn't intending to deceive, I just wanted to get from point A to point B. As Mr. Proctor said, the lost tag, I don't know if the lost tag is illegal, but, apparently it is. And so my intent certainly was not to,
Yeah, because I think the problem here is that, you know, by definition, it's permit manipulation.
well, my
And it's in the,
And I think some of you know me, and I'm not dumb enough to do something that had I known that was manipulation and the fine for that was $1,500, then I would not have done it. So, you know, but at that point, you know, it's too late. I made it about 3 feet from the dock before the officer pulled me and told me to come back. So, you know, that's all I got to say,
okay.
plain and simple. The other thing, well, I guess I do have one other thing to say now that we're in discussion. Your regulations say nothing about having your voter's permit on you. They just say that you have to take the test. So at least one of the 3 charges,
Is that the case? Is that true? It does not say you have to have it on you?
would you like to
Okay.
see it?
No, I'm asking the director right here. Good enough. If it doesn't say that. So maybe that's something that should be done in the future. I was under the impression that
tells
it
them
did.
to either take a picture of it and have it on their person, but it doesn't say that in the,
Okay,
yeah, so they're verbally told,
but
but
it
that should be
doesn't.
backed up by a.
Yeah,
written-
that's got it. That needs to be changed. Okay, so okay.
Got that? Thank you.
Patrick?
I agree with the Lake Lure operator license piece, since it's not in writing in the regulations, that is one of the 3 that would need to be removed from the permit violation, in my opinion. Here, so.
Any other questions or comments from Commissioner? Scott, do you have anything else?
I think I'm fine.
Jim, are you? Have you asked, I mean, do you have all the
I've asked all the
information
questions,
that you
I'm not,
Okay.
I'm conflicted.
need? Anything else, Patrick, that you need clarification on?
No, not at this time, after the comments from officers and our team.
Okay, so, we've had this come up before with a fictitious permit, and part of this fine could result in removal of your permit permanently. That's the discretion of the council. Nobody wants to do that, but I feel like that, I know, you know, everybody, I'll say this, but no one wants to break the law or do anything wrong, but it's a rule and it was done, and it was manipulation of the permit process. So by definition, that's what it is. The operation of the boat without Lake Lure operator license, I think that needs to, like we said, that probably should go away, but I think we should deny the citation for 00060 with the caveat of the boat Lake Lure operator's license coming out of that.
I do have a question. Do we have manipulation of the permitting process on our fee schedule?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Class B.
Commissioner Bryant or
Yep,
Commissioner Crawford, any
I'd-
other comments?
I'll make a motion, it probably won't go very far, but I'm gonna make a motion that the total fines for this citation be $250.
There's already a motion.
Is there a motion?
Scott,
Was there a
any
second?
other- No,
Not
there's
yet,
not a
no.
second. Would you like to amend his motion? Would you like, do you want to discuss the
Oh,
motion?
do.
yeah.
I apologize for being out of order.
Yep.
It's
And
okay.
Considering evidence is presented, I'll second the motion. It would bring the fine to $1,750 from the original 2,000.
Is there a second?
He said.
Oh, you seconded it, all in
Mhm.
favor?
I did.
Aye.
Aye?
Jim?
I voted no.
Okay. Well, in that, it is 2-1 in that case, as David has recused himself, so the motion carries to deny the amended citation. We have no more new business, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Madam Mayor, I move that we adjourn the Marine Commission meeting of today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then we stand adjourned. It's just 4:30, but we will not begin the regular town council meeting until 5 o'clock.